Yes, that's my name.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
So, how are you doing today? Rich,
Great.
muchas gracias por estar aquí modulando ahora sí que en lo que llegaba. Y pues bueno, vamos a seguir con Suzanne, ¿vale?
I'm here.
He's gonna be here all the time. We're just gonna be conversating here between you and me, Suzanne.
That sounds great. Oh, and one thing I wanted to make sure. So if you have me listed anywhere, leave my last name off stuff because like just Suzanne.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's good. So, well, it's a pleasure to have you here in one edition more of Sharing Experience. I don't know if you already know why you're here or what are we going to discuss about here or what did Ricky tell you? Tell me, share with me a little bit.
I think we're just going to talk about magic and like the kind of magic that I do and where I work and stuff like that. That's what I was kind of getting the idea.
Okay, very good. It's kind of
whatever you guys ask, I can probably do my best to answer.
Yeah, don't worry. Actually, this Sharing Experience project was, we started as a way to know who is the person behind the artist, right? So what we want to know is what are the beginnings of Suzanne as a magician and which experiences and which things made you do this decision of dedicating your life to magic, and how have you been dealing with shows and everything like that. So we are not here just for you to show us like how to do your magic or how to do a trick or something like that. What we want to do is really get to know you more, like a little bit closer, you know, that you
great.
share a little bit about your magic career. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I am one of the lucky people who I think magic just fell in my lap, sort of.
Okay.
I grew up in a smallish kind of town in Michigan. Kind of the upper Middle East part of the United States.
You say? Yes.
Yeah. So it's the state that looks like a mitten. And I grew up in the town where where Kellogg's is.
Okay.
Probably get Kellogg's like cornflakes and stuff like that in Mexico, right?
Yeah, like Fruit Loops and Choco Krispies and all of these cereals.
Fruit Loops might be General Mills, I'm not sure, but right, like the cereal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that town. And I didn't really have any magic influences in that town, but I did have my dad's friend, his son did the 21 card trick. And he taught me the 21 card trick when I was about 12, but he presented it like a puzzle. And I love puzzles, like brain teaser puzzles, not jigsaw puzzles, but like brain teasers and bar tricks. You know, bar tricks, like, you know what that is, right?
Yeah, the one that you put the bill, for example, you get to get it out of the bottle without touching the bottle, you know, like.
Right, yeah. Right, like bar tricks, right? Like gotcha kind of tricks. So I like that kind of stuff. And so when this guy presented it like a puzzle, I really got into the puzzle aspect of it, and I did at it as magic. And then I met this guy, and he was teaching me how to play guitar, and I ended up marrying that guy. But we moved to, and so we've been married since way too long.
That's a great story. Suzanne, sorry I interrupt your flow a little bit. I need to be translating to the people that don't speak English. So maybe we do 5 minutes and I translate 5 minutes. I don't have many troubles remembering the things. So let's do it like that. Okay?
You want to translate so far?
Yeah, it's great. I have everything you told us. Okay, just let's translate a little bit to these guys. So chicos, ya estamos aquí con Suzanne. Le comentaba que para qué es lo que queríamos que estuviera aquí con nosotros en la entrevista, más que nada para conocer cuál es la persona detrás del artista, como en todas las ediciones. Entonces, yo le dije que quería que nos platicara un poco de esto a través de la entrevista, pero bueno, empezó ella ahorita a decirnos varias cosas muy interesantes, por cierto. Nos comenta que ella se creó en el estado de Michigan, ¿no? En los Estados Unidos. Ahí está la empresa de Kellogg's, que es la marca de cereales, ¿no? Y ella conoció una persona que le enseñó el 21 card trick, el truco de las 21 cartas que creo que mucha gente conocemos, muchas personas, muchos magos conocemos. Y ahí fue como que ella dice que la magia fue algo como que simplemente llegó a ella, ¿no? Sorry, how old were you when this happened? Like the
11,
21
12,
card. Sorry?
like 11 or 12, something like that.
Okay, sí. Sorry, just didn't remember that.
Yeah.
So, ella tenía 11, 12 años por ahí y ella conoce este efecto por alguien que se lo enseña y ella nos comenta que es muy aficionada de los puzzles, ¿no? De los, eh, ¿cómo llamarle? Rompecabezas, pero no rompecabezas como de los de armar, ¿no? Sino más bien rompecabezas lógicos, ¿no? Como acertijos, operaciones matemáticas. Y entonces a ella le gusta todo eso y ella vio el 21 card trick como un puzzle, ¿no? Como un rompecabezas para ella. La persona que se lo enseñó, le enseñó cómo funcionaba, ella se centró en la parte del rompecabezas y bueno, finalmente terminó casándose con la persona que le enseñó este efecto y bueno, eso es hasta ahí lo que vamos, ¿ok? Entonces, so you tell me, Suzanne, you ended marrying this guy, right?
Yep, ended up marrying this guy, and he's a musician, and so he moved to Minneapolis, where I live now. So Minneapolis is in Minnesota. That's kind of right in the middle of the United States, but up near the top.
Okay.
So near Canada, kind of.
Okay. So in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you were in Michigan?
I lived in Michigan.
You lived in Michigan, you met him here, and then you
I
go
met him
to...
in Michigan.
Yes, in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to Minnesota?
Yep. So we've lived here since 1984.
1984, okay.
Yeah.
I was not even born. So yeah.
I'm guessing you're about my son's age.
I don't know, how old is your son?
How old are you?
How old are your son?
He's 30.
I'm 24.
Oh.
Yes.
My son is I moved here in 1984, and my husband was in a band, and I didn't know anybody, but I became a computer programmer because, you know, puzzles.
Yes.
Because computer programming and puzzles is kind of the same thing. So I got a job here being a computer programmer, and my husband was in a band and working on Fridays and Saturday nights, and I was bored. And I met this guy named Al Schneider. You guys probably know who Al Schneider is, right?
Who? Sorry?
Al Schneider?
Al Schneider? I don't know him, but maybe...
Okay, do you know the trick, the Matrix?
Oh, yes, for sure.
He's the guy who invented the Matrix.
Wow.
Yeah, so this guy, Al Schneider, the guy who invented the Matrix, lived in Minneapolis at the time, and I met him, and he did just a coin vanish for me, just a false transfer, or you know, he probably did a thing that was like, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. He was sitting on the floor, and I think he like, let me see if this will even work. Hold on. Yeah, it'll work. Hold on. So he went like that, and like that, and like that.
What?
And it blew my brain. But he,
like right now you have done it with me.
What's that? Oh, well, it's just under the box. So I just went like that. Oh, wait, just go like that. Right? So it just goes under the box. But if you do it in a way that makes it look like you're picking it up, and then you throw it in the hand, and then you go like that. But it blew my brain And I asked him if he would teach me, and he started teaching me. And within 3 months, I was working at a restaurant because
Wow.
I had like 4 tricks. He wouldn't let me move on until I had the trick like as perfect as I could get it. And so I had like 4 tricks. That's all I had. Oh, and the 21 card trick.
On the 21 card trick.
Yeah, so 4 tricks plus a 21 card trick. And then I got a job at 2 different family style restaurants. And I worked there on Friday and Saturday nights. So I'm like 20, I'm like your age.
24.
Yeah, so that's when I really started learning magic, was when I was about 24. So then I was working at 2 different family style restaurants, 4 nights, 4 hours a night. And I got a lot of practice. And then I met Eugene Berger. You know Eugene Berger?
I think I do, but I'm not sure.
He was a magician in Chicago, and he worked with Jeff McBride a lot.
Okay.
And he did a lot of restaurant magic in Chicago. And he introduced me to a guy who just moved here, who was the manager of an upscale restaurant.
Upscale, it's like high end?
Upscale, like fancy, high end.
Okay, yeah, high end.
And this guy was used to working with magicians in his restaurant. So I auditioned for him with my 4 tricks and hoped that he didn't ask for a 5th trick, because then I'd have to do the 21 card trick. And I got the job. So then I started working upscale restaurants. And then within a year, I quit my job as a computer programmer and just did magic. And so I've been doing magic professionally since 1986.
Wow.
That's all I've been. So I have been extremely lucky and fortunate that I've met the right people at the right time. And I had the right kind of training. So I have a good foundation. Good foundation, I think, is the most important. Meeting the right people to get it so I could start working the Magic Castle. Because if you can work the Magic Castle, you're doing like 4 shows back to back.
Wow.
7 nights a week, 7 nights. And you can't not learn how to really do a good show then.
It's completely crazy when you go up in that level, you know, like the Magic Castle, we're talking like another thing. But let me just go translate this, guys, a little bit what we've been talking for the last 5 minutes, and I'll be back with you, okay, Suzanne?
Yep.
Very good. So, chicos, ahí les va, ¿no? El resumen. Estamos platicando de la vida de Suzanne antes, bueno, durante el proceso de convertirse a lo que es, ¿no? Y ella me comenta que, pues, ella es una programadora de computadoras, ¿no? Le gustó esto de la computación por lo mismo de los rompecabezas de los que hablábamos, ¿no? Su esposo era músico, ¿no? Y se fue a trabajar a Michigan, ¿no? No, a Minnesota, perdón. Y entonces, en ese proceso, Suzanne conoce a... What was the name of the guy who invented the Matrix?
Al Schneider.
Al Schneider, lo conoce Suzanne. Y bueno, este señor le enseña hace un efecto de un coin vanish, ¿no? De lo que vimos con la moneda, donde pues desaparece justo sobre la mesa, ¿no? Entonces, ella vio esto y ella le explotó la mente al ver esto y pues hizo que ese señor fuera su maestro, ¿no? Entonces, le enseñó durante 3 meses. Ella tenía únicamente 4 trucos de cartas, más el truco de los 21 cartas que ya hemos hablado antes. Y pues ella empieza a trabajar ahí en los restaurantes a los 3 meses, ¿no? Como les estaba diciendo. Y esto era, ella comenta que este Schneider era como muy estricto, no la dejaba avanzar a menos de que ya tuviera el dominio perfecto de cada técnica y de cada parte del acto, ¿no? Entonces llegó un punto en el que pues ella se dio cuenta que estaba ganando demasiada práctica en hacer esto del restaurante y empezó a trabajar en dos restaurantes diferentes con conceptos así familiares, ¿no? Ella estaba trabajando de maga profesional ya en restaurantes a los 24 años, ¿no? Se iba 4 horas a los restaurantes en la noche, todos los días, y así empezó, ¿no? Y luego conoció a un mago, el señor Berger, creo que así se apellida, de Chicago, ¿no? Y este señor era también remember me, Berger, Mr. Berger at Chicago, he was.
Yeah, his name's Eugene Berger. I texted to Rich the Al Schneider and Eugene Berger, and so he can just put that in the chat. So if people want to look those guys up, I would see if you can find Al Schneider's YouTube channel.
Okay.
He's not really a performer. He's more of a technician. So
okay.
He more thinks about magic than he does perform it. But his thinking on magic is amazing.
Amazing. And he just gets you, you auditioned for him, right? That's what you said.
Oh, no, I auditioned for, Al Schneider was the guy that taught me magic.
Okay, yes. Besides Schneider, right?
So Al Schneider was who taught me magic, and then Eugene Berger introduced me to the guy at the restaurant.
Okay, that was the fact that I was missing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I'll go back. So, chicos, entonces ella conoce a Jim Berger y él la introduce con el gerente de un restaurante, pues, de caché, por así decirlo, de fancy, elegante, ¿no? Y empezó a trabajar ahí, audicionó para este señor con sus 4 trucos, ¿no? Y ella me dice que si él le hubiera pedido un quinto, pues habría hecho el 21 card trick, ¿no? El de las 21 cartas. Entonces ella audiciona para ese señor con esos 4 trucos que ella sabía después de que Berger y Schneider le habrían enseñado. Y pues empieza a trabajar en ese restaurante fancy y empieza a trabajar en los restaurantes de muy buen renombre, a tal grado que renuncia a su trabajo como programadora y empieza a trabajar profesionalmente en la magia, ¿no? Ella viene trabajando profesionalmente en la magia desde 1986, ¿no? Entonces, pues eso es hasta lo que vamos por aquí. Y ya me comentaba que ella empezó con la meta de trabajar en el Magic Castle y pues eso es lo que vamos a platicar ahorita, ¿no? Igual, Suzanne, we've talked about this travel that it was the learning from you in your magic career, right? So we have sort of a kind of question that we want to make to you in this interview. So actually, with this conversation we had, we already covered some of those questions we have for you. So, for example, speaking about the time where you start seeing the Magic Castle as a goal, can you share us back what you were telling us about it?
Sure. So, my husband and I got married in the early 80s, and I had already known Al by then.
Okay.
I'm going to correct something that I said to you because I say it for ease. My husband and I didn't actually get married until after we moved here. So we got married in 1986.
Okay.
At the same time that I became a professional magician. It was just easier to say that we got married and moved here than.
Okay. Yeah, I think 1986 was the time where you started working as
full time.
Full
Yeah.
time, yeah, when you
Right.
quit your job, programming job,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So we were going to go to California for our honeymoon, and my magic mentor said, well, if you're going to go to California, then you should go to the Magic Castle. So that's the first time that I ever went there, but I went as a patron. And
Oh,
I thought when I went there that it was like heaven almost. And I thought if I could just work here once, then I will have accomplished everything that a magician could ever want to accomplish. So that's what I thought in 1986. And then in 1988, Al said, well, you could go work the Magic Castle if you want.
what?
He called Bill Larson, who was one of the founders of the Magic Castle, and Al had a big enough name at the time that he could just say, hey, one of my students is ready. And Bill Larson said, send him out.
Whoa!
Send him out, not her. And so I show up, this, cute little 25, 26-year-old girl, and I do magic, and I get to do magic for Di Vernon and
What?
Home and Peter Pitt and people like that. So and then it was like heaven to work there. So the first time I worked there was in 1988. And then
1988.
1988. And then in 1990, my son was born, and I didn't stop working as a magician, but I stopped traveling as much.
Okay.
Because I'm mom, and mom's got to stay home with the kid. So the next time I went out was in 1998. So I kind of didn't come back for 10 years. And then in 1998, from then on, I started working 2 times a year until about 2018. I probably went out like 2 times a year.
Why isn't the year in the Magic Castle?
Yeah, like I would go. So you work for only a week. When you go out, you work 1 week, but I would go out twice a year to go.
Okay.
I'd work 2 weeks a year.
Okay.
But they don't pay much, and so you kind of have to save up to work there, especially if you're traveling there. And then I'm not working here while I'm working there, so that makes it more expensive. So I couldn't really work there more than that. Just for
Nice. So when this was happening, where were you? In which restaurant were you working, or what were you doing in magic?
Oh, what I was doing in magic, I had starting in about trying to remember when they opened, about 1998. I started working in a place called Gianni's Steakhouse.
Gianni's Steakhouse.
Gianni's Steakhouse. And it was a Chicago style, fancy upscale restaurant. And it was in a part of town where very rich people live, which is perfect because then I would get a lot of corporate and private parties from working there. And I would work there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So 3 nights a week.
And where is this Gianni's Steakhouse?
Gianni's Steakhouse is in Wayzata, Minnesota. And
Soda.
it's a very fancy restaurant on a very fancy lake where there are very, very expensive homes and doctors and lawyers and CEOs of big companies live on these lakes. So
big tip bucket.
What's that?
Big tip bucket.
Right, exactly. And so I would get a lot of private parties from working there. And one of the agreements that we had with the restaurant was, if I got a show on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, the restaurant had to let me out, because of course I'm going to charge the clients way more than what I would charge the restaurant. And they were perfectly fine with that. And I worked for that restaurant for 14 years. And then they sold, and the new owner loved the magic, but she didn't want to pay me. So that's not going to work.
You were charging like for the 3 days, or you were charging per hour, or how did you used to charge these guys?
I charge per day. So I'd go in and work for 3 hours, and they would pay me a lump sum and then feed me.
Okay.
And I could hand out my cards and stuff like that. So, and I had a lot of followers. And when I stopped working there, my followers stopped going there and started going at my new place. So now I have 3 different places. One that I've been, I've been at Birches on the Lake. I've been there for maybe close to 10 years. And then
Sorry?
It's called Birches.
Birches?
On the lake.
Okay, very good.
And that place, I've been there for about eight years, I think. I'd have to go back and find out. I've been there.
You still working there right now?
No, well, no, not because of COVID. I'm not. I haven't.
Well, but before COVID?
Before, yeah. Yeah, my last show was March 14th.
Wow.
I had 2 private parties on March 14th at 2 different homes, and that was the last that I've worked because everything shut down.
Yeah.
So under normal circumstances, on Friday nights I'm at Birches on the Lake. On Saturday nights I'm at Lord Fletcher's.
Love Lectures?
Lord Fletcher.
Okay.
And then on Monday nights, I'm at Rockwood's.
So Monday, it's a really concurrent day, like they go a lot of people?
They kind of look at that as more kind of like a family night. So I do have some kids that I perform. I don't like performing for kids, but.
I don't either.
Yeah. They're the only people smaller than me, though.
Yeah, so well, that's a huge like, how do you say, like, card of the experience in restaurants. I mean, you've been working a long time in restaurants, right? You know how
right, yeah.
This is moved and how this is managed. So I want to make a question. So when it's the time that you say, like, okay, I'm going to stop working for these restaurants and I'm going to start working only in high-end restaurants?
I only work high-end restaurants now. As soon as I got into a high-end restaurant, I quit working family-style restaurants. Even Rockwood's is a high-end restaurant.
And how is the way you get to the managers? Like, or you go with a proposal and you tell them, hey, I am the magician who works in high-end restaurants. Do you want to hire me? Or that's what you do, basically?
Basically, I mean, you want to, the high-end restaurants are hard to get into because
yes, a lot.
Yeah, you need to know the manager or the owner or something like that. But this is where I sort of cheated. Cheating's not the right word, but I was lucky because the guy who Eugene Berger initially introduced me to, who had the first upscale restaurant that I worked, which was called American Cafe.
Okay.
That was the first upscale restaurant that I worked at in the mid to late 80s. That general manager there is the one who got me the job at Gianni Steakhouse. And then after Gianni's Steakhouse was done, that guy got me the job at Birch's. And then the owner of Birch's, his best friend owns Lord Fletcher's.
Okay. So it
The
was just,
people who own Lord Fletcher's owns Rockwood's.
wow. So
So it's
basically
all
it was like the universe telling you, hey, here you go.
exactly. So it's not fair. I know it's not fair. It feels like I didn't have to work that hard.
I know.
Now my husband will go, honey, you worked really hard. But it feels like I didn't work that hard because I was in the right place at the right time for a lot of things.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
So I don't know how, like for instance, I wouldn't know how to tell you how to get an upscale restaurant other than you got to meet the right people.
You gotta meet the right people. That's for sure. Like they say, worlds made some connections, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah. So
That's why
it's a great
LinkedIn is,
thing. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's why like LinkedIn is a good idea. It just nobody gets on it. But if you could utilize that sort of like ask everybody, hey, do you know anybody who owns an upscale restaurant? I would not recommend trying to get into a chain restaurant though, because the chain restaurants, you have to talk to a general manager, and then the general manager has to go to corporate, and there's a breakdown there.
Yes, of course.
That
So
makes sense.
actually, it's funny that you tell us because I don't know if you know who we are as a company, like who the order is as a company here in Mexico. Do you
I
know
don't.
anything about our enterprise?
I
Well,
don't, but I would love to learn.
we are a company that actually we are called the entertainment business company. So we give services of entertainment specifically in close of magic for restaurants in Mexico, like in Mexico City, in Puerto
Oh,
Vallarta, and we're planning on opening many more places because as a company, we know a lot of magicians, like a lot here in Mexico, that are
yeah.
good magicians, that are trained magicians, and just want to work in restaurants. And we are giving this opportunity for the people to do what they want to do and earn as much as they can as doing magic, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say the chain things because actually we were lucky too, we work right now, Chili's, the restaurant Chili's.
Yes, yes.
Well, here in Mexico, Chili's is controlled by a group of restaurants. It's called Alsea, right? So one guy of our company, we work now in 48 restaurants and we have 37 magicians working with us, right?
It's great.
So one of our magicians was doing a table at a restaurant in mall, Puerta San Angel, I think that's called the mall. And suddenly, he was doing magic without knowing to the son of the general director of the corporate, like, so the one who was deciding what was in and what was not. Sorry, I'm gonna mute a little bit thing because the guy's going through. I don't know if you hear me. Oh, good.
Oh, I can hear him in the background. Yeah.
Okay, so we were lucky because these guys does a routine and he turns this whole table crazy where the son of the basically the one next to the owner was sitting, right?
That's
So
perfect.
so the guy goes with his dad and he tells him like, hey, they just blew my mind in your restaurant. What the fuck is going on, right? So the guy was like, what? How, what was that? Like, what a magician? I don't know anything about it, right? So the general owner didn't know anything about what we were doing, and we were already in 7 or 8 shops of different chilies working in different places. We had
Ah,
lots of things, but he didn't know that he was happening in his restaurant. So
okay.
Joe, my partner, Joe and I started like this whole thing. I was working in some restaurants, and then I had to leave here in Puerto Vallarta. So I said like, hey, let's do this. Let's just bring magicians to work in there, right? So Joe Cross gets called because he's the director, the CEO of the company, right? So Joe goes with he was called by a shop, by the manager of a shop a chili shop, and he said like, you know what? They're calling you in the headquarters, right? So he goes to the office of the director, and he says like, hey, you know, you blew my kid's mind, sorry, and well, we want to see how can this work, right? So basically, one day and another, we were just having contact with the manager to the director of the company, and we were already approving for 48 restaurants. When
That's
we
great.
when we got to cover the 48 restaurants, we were supposed to sign a contract, so our services were paid, right? Because right now we have all these shops, we work just for tips, but our
Oh,
goal is like to get it in a way. We already presented, they said yes before the COVID thing
yep.
happened, you know. So right now we're just going back to it. He already talked to the director of the company. They say, you know what, we right now we want to have it, but we can't have it. So Joe designed another form to enter to the restaurants, and I don't know, they're just talking about if we can go like right now, or we will have to wait till everything's like back to the normality. But it's a funny thing you talked about change, because in the way we were lucky, you know, like just doing that.
Right. If you have a lot of magicians like what you guys have, and then you can say, well, we can put a magician in every single one of your places, then that would work. But if you're just one magician, and if I wanted to go and work at Chili's, they would have to check with corporate, and corporate would go, nah, that's not our model. So we're not going to, and then it wouldn't work. But for your setting, that's fantastic. But see, that was you were in front of the right person.
Exactly,
And I think
exactly.
that that's how it worked out for me, was I was able to get in front of the right people and ask the right questions at the right time, and it it just worked out then.
That's great. That's super great. Just let me go translate these guys a little bit of what we were talking, and I'll go back with you, okay?
Great, great.
Ok, so chicos, nos extendimos un poquito por aquí, ya nos desviamos un poquito del tema, pero está muy interesante la plática. Les voy a compartir un poco, o bueno, más bien les voy a compartir todo lo que estuvimos hablando. Pues nos quedamos en lo del Magic Castle, ¿no? Nos quedamos en 1986 cuando ella va a trabajar al Magic Castle. Dice que ella cuando entró al Magic Castle, pues sintió como que estuviera en el paraíso, ¿no? En el cielo, porque pues es el Magic Castle, ¿no? Entonces, ella dijo así de, ¿sabes qué? Yo siento que si yo llego a trabajar, aunque sea una vez aquí, ya realicé todos mis sueños como mago, ya hice todo lo que tenía que hacer y pues vamos, ¿no? Entonces, da la casualidad que su mentor, Al, pues tenía muy buenas relaciones en el Magic Castle, ¿no? Entonces, Al le llama a Bill Larson, que es uno de los creadores del Magic Castle, y le dice, ¿sabes qué? Una de mis estudiantes está lista, ¿no? Entonces, Larson le dice, ok, tráela, ¿no? A ver qué podemos hacer. Y dice que es una experiencia pues súper increíble porque pudo hacerle magia a Di Vernon, ¿no? Y pues eso está cañón. O sea, le pudo hacer magia a mucha. Yeah, like many magicians that were just crazy, right? Entonces le podía hacer magia así a muchos magos que pues estaban fuertes en ese entonces y ella se sentía en el cielo, ¿no? Esto fue it was in 1988, right? Where you start working in
88 was the first time.
the first time, ajá. La primera vez fue en 1988, ¿no? Después ella estuvo trabajando 2 años ahí en el Magic Castle y en 1990 nace su hijo, ¿no? Entonces dice que ella no se salió de la magia como tal, pero sí dejó de viajar pues bastante por cuestiones de ser madre, ¿no? Y de que se tenía que quedar en casa. Entonces dejó de trabajar un poco, no completamente, y después en 1998 vuelve a trabajar y dos veces al año en el Magic Castle, ¿no? Dice que trabajas una semana por ahí y, o sea, cuando trabajas una semana y ya, te regresas a donde seas. Y ella consiguió trabajar 2 semanas por ahí al año, ¿no? Desde 1998 hasta el 2018. Entonces, pues eso es como lo que ella hizo para el Magic Castle. Y luego yo le preguntaba que cuál era el momento en el que ella decide que ella quiere trabajar así, ¿no? Dedicarse completamente a la magia de restaurantes, ¿no? Y ella me comenta que en 1998, ¿no? Cuando empezó a trabajar en Jenny's Steakhouse, eh, pues era un lugar muy, 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 muy fancy, ¿no? De hecho, pues era así como VIP, ¿no? CEOs, ingenieros y directores de compañías y esto y el otro. Y entonces ella empieza a trabajar en eso y empieza a tener shows, fiestas privadas, esto y lo otro. Y llega a un acuerdo con el restaurante donde ellos le tenían que ella lo contrataba por día, ¿no? Y si ellos necesitaban que estuviera jueves, viernes y sábado, pero ella tenía un show por ahí que le saliera en esos días, pues ellos tenían que estar conscientes de que les iba a cobrar muchísimo más al restaurante, digo, a los clientes de lo que iba a ganar en el restaurante, entonces ellos no tuvieron problema con eso y así fue como ella empezó a trabajar ahí, pero después todo fue cuestión de suerte, ¿no? Ella se relacionó con otro restaurante y con otro restaurante por conexiones de las personas que conocieron ahí mismo. Y pues bueno, empezó a trabajar en 3 lugares y ahorita sigue trabajando en un lugar que se llama Birches, right? It's the
Yeah.
place that you are working right now.
Yeah.
Durante
If they go to my website, I've got them listed on there. Here,
Oh, great.
I'll send Rich that.
Yes, please.
I'm just texting with him to like tell him things that like to put in the chat.
Okay, very good. That's great. So we keep here the information a little bit. I'm taking my notes as well, so I'm trying to follow as much as we can, right? So yeah, so ella empezó a trabajar en diferentes lugares y de hecho de Giannis VIP como que vendieron y pues el nuevo gerente o el nuevo dueño sí le gustaba la magia, pero no quería como que pagar por ella, ¿no? Entonces, pues se fue de ahí, dice que después sus followers, o sea, sus seguidores se iban al otro restaurante donde ella estaba trabajando, ¿no? Entonces está increíble lograr tener una conexión y un trato con ese espectador para que te vaya a buscar al lugar pues donde tú estás trabajando, ¿no? Yo siento que eso está increíble, increíble. Entonces, pues sí, el primer restaurante que trabajó es en el American Café, me dijo. Es un restaurante muy, muy, muy fancy. Y ese manager fue el que le consiguió el trabajo en Steakhouse, que fue el lugar donde ya sus followers la seguían otra vez, ¿no? Y entonces ella me decía que ella no es como que se haya decidido a dedicarse completamente a los restaurantes fancy, sino que fue la suerte de conectar con uno y con otro lo que la llevó a dedicarse a eso tiempo completo, ¿no? Entonces, pues estábamos hablando de eso y ella decía que yo le preguntaba que cuál era el método, ¿no? Que ella utilizaba para llegar a estos restaurantes de, pues, alta gama y me dijo que eso, ¿no? Que ella nunca ha tenido que dar una propuesta y dice que ella piensa que es injusto porque hay mucha gente que tiene la habilidad para estar en eso, pero tristemente para entrar a trabajar en esos lugares o para hacer eso tienes que tener suerte, ¿no? Y entonces ya le pude contar un poco de la historia, comentarle un poco de lo que somos, que ya ustedes lo saben, y a lo que se dedica también The Order con la cuestión de restaurantes, y contarle la historia de que fuimos suertudos también nosotros, de que César le hubiera hecho magia al hijo del director, ¿no? Del corporativo, y pues básicamente también de que Cross haya sido llamado a hablar con estas personas, ¿no? Entonces, eso fue un poco de lo que yo le estuve contando, de la historia de The Order, y bueno, seguimos con ahorita con la entrevista, eso fue todo lo que hablamos. Y bueno, I want to make a question to you. So, just talking back a little bit about magic, like, we know you work in restaurants a lot of times, right? But you also have created things and created routines and effects that have been around in your job and in different places like Fools, for example, right? And so I have a question for you. What do you think is your best creation in magic?
Um, I think when we're talking about actual magic creation, I've really only created one thing, and that was a way to change a blank deck of cards into a real deck of cards. So that's the only thing that I've actually created as a magic part. I'm really more uh, of a presenter. So like my presentations are more like I'll take somebody else's thing and make a really good presentation out of it. Like
Okay.
the thing that I did for Penn and Teller Fool Us, the guy who invented it, which I put information or Rich put information in the chat about that. The original trick was called Band-Aid Transpo, and it was invented by Joe Given out of Colorado. And I saw him do it at a magic convention and then bought his lecture notes. And I didn't like his presentation. And so I thought, well, it looks like a puzzle to me. So I wanted to know how it worked. That's why I got the lecture notes. And then I went, yeah, I'll never do that trick because I couldn't get past his presentation. But then when my son was about 8 or 7,
Okay.
he was running around the house and he banged his elbow on the door frame. And
Okay.
when you hit your elbow, it hurts. And so he screamed and said, "Oh, Mom, I need a Band-Aid." And I looked at his arm and I went, "You're not even bleeding. You don't need a Band-Aid." And he said, "No, I need to have a Band-Aid." And then I realized what that trick was really about. He didn't want a Band-Aid because he was bleeding. He wanted a Band-Aid because he got comfort from his mom when he got the Band-Aid. And that's what the trick is about. So I started doing it like that. So if you go to my YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel. I'll give that to Rich. Or if you just go to YouTube/Suze Magic, SUZ Magic, that's my YouTube channel. You'll see the original version of the Band-Aid Transpo with my script.
Okay.
And I did it that way for like 15 years. And then when I was asked to do Fool Us, I thought, so I didn't look like all the other guys on the show. I wasn't going to do a card trick, which I could have done a card trick. But I wanted to do something that nobody else is doing. And that A Mother's Love, that Band-Aid trick, nobody else would do that. And it shows that I'm a mom. It's a more feminine trick than card magic is. And so I had to change the method to make it so that it would fool Penn and Teller, because they wouldn't have been fooled by the original version. The original version is obvious to magicians.
So basically, your best creation is that thing, right? The speech and your presentation and the method for that, right?
Yeah, the presentation and the changing of the method, I would say, is, but I guess depending upon who you talk to, I didn't necessarily create that trick.
No, I know, right?
Yeah, I made it better.
Yes, and actually, I think with the passion that you say it and that it reminds you to your kid, and it's more like a love effect, not like wow, whoa, yeah, it is impressive, right? It is completely stunning. But I mean, the fact that I dare to say it's the best is because I see all the love that you put into this, right? Of being a mother, of trying to transmit that. So wow, thank you for sharing that. It's great. right?
Yeah.
So just let me tell these guys a little bit about what you said, and I'll be back with you. Chicos, pues la pregunta fue, ¿cuál ha sido tu mejor creación en la magia, no? Y entonces ella me comenta que pues básicamente a ella no, la única, que una de sus creaciones que dice que ha hecho ha sido, o que ha hecho más bien, ha sido el convertir un blank deck, ¿no? Un deck completamente en blanco a uno real, ¿no? Esa es una cosa de las que él ha creado, digo, que ella ha creado y pues eso es eh, lo que dice que es una de sus creaciones, ¿no? Pero más que nada ella dice que ella es una presentadora, que ella lo que le gusta es, o lo que hace es que sí toma cosas de alguien más, pero las presenta de una manera completamente diferente y para ella mejor, ¿no? Nos estaba comentando, tal es el truco de lo que ella hizo con Penn and Teller Fuller's, ¿no? Que ella pues adaptó el truco de, o el efecto de Joe Gibbon, ¿no? Que es quien inventó el Band-Aid Transpo, y pues ella lo tomó y cambió el speech, ¿no? Tras que ella no quisiera tomar el efecto en cuenta y que dijera al conocer el efecto que es un efecto que ella nunca haría, pues terminó haciéndolo en esta escala, ¿no? ¿Por qué? Porque dice que ella veía este puzzle más como, bueno, este efecto más como un puzzle, como un rompecabezas, y que no era el estilo de magia que ella querría cubrir. Entonces, pues después, cuando su hijo tiene 8 años, se golpea en el codo y le dice, mamá, necesito un band-aid, necesito un curita, ¿no? O una bandita de curación, no sé cómo las conozcan en otros países, aquí en México les decimos curitas, pero le dijo, no, ni siquiera está sangrando, ¿no? Y que le dijo, no, necesito una band-aid. Y pues ella se dio cuenta que la curita no lo quería porque estuviera sangrando, no, sino porque le hacía sentir el amor o el confort de su madre, ¿no? Entonces, ella es donde se da cuenta que el Band-Aid Transpo no lo presentado de una manera diferente y cambiando un poco del método podría ser un gran efecto, ¿no? Y fue lo que presentó con Penn and Teller ahí en Fullos. Y entonces, de hecho, nos mandó a su canal de YouTube también para que podamos ver el performance real, el original, con el speech que ella tiene. Y ella dice que está segura que si ella hubiera presentado ese efecto ante Penn and Teller, no habría habido un full loss, ¿no? O sea, no habría fuleado a Penn and Teller, ¿no? Y pues bueno, esto es un poco de lo que hemos hablado ahorita con Suzanne. Suzanne, thank you for sharing that again. There's a friend here, Francisco, says that if you want to show us some tricks, some magic, you have your deck of playing cards right there. So we're open to what you want to show us.
Sure. So I'm going to try to do this, but I think the lighting is not great, so it might be a little hard to.
I can see you well.
Say again?
I can see you well.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been shuffling these cards all along, so you know that this is a stacked deck, right?
Okay.
That's a joke, because these are blank. So they're totally blank, right? Okay, so I'm going to go like this, and you say stop. You have to say stop in there somewhere. You want me to start over?
Stop.
Right there?
Yes.
So I'll go straight down.
Okay.
Is that good, or do you want to trade? Because you can trade.
No, that's good.
That's good?
Good.
Okay, so that's yours. I'll show it to you, but I won't look. Can you see it?
Okay, yes, I see it.
Okay. All right. I'll go like this. You say stop.
Stop.
There?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Yep.
Turn it around. I don't want you to think that I have a stripper deck. So. Okay, watch this. There's your card. Okay, that was dumb. Because they're blank. Of course it's going to be your card. It is actually your card, though. Here, hold on a second. I need a pen. How do you spell your name? I can't see it from here.
Mau R-I-C-I-O.
M-A-U.
R-I-C-I-O.
C-I-O. Okay. Whether you will be able to see this or not, I don't know.
Yes, I can see it.
I'm gonna, well, if I stand up, then my head will be out of the thing.
Yes.
Okay, but you can see the name?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the thing. This is what we did before. See, before, I took your card and I put it in the deck like that, right? That's what we did before. Then I waved my hand over the top and I gave it a snap. That's what we did before, right?
Yes.
The card popped to the top, but we couldn't really tell before because the card was blank before, but now we can tell because it has your name on it. Yeah. So it makes a big difference with the name, right? Doesn't it? Doesn't it? It does. So here, let's do it again. I'll go like this, put it in the deck. It goes in the deck, right? Okay. I'll put this up near the camera and I want you to just tap on the, deck. Just tap on, tap. Oh, good job. Okay, look what you did. See? Whoop, whoop.
Great.
See? Okay, now you know how that works, right? Because
Yeah, of course.
how this works, it's important to know you have to have a pen for that to work. If you don't have the pen, it doesn't work. Because the pen is magic. You know that. Right?
Of course.
They're not getting what I'm saying because they can't understand me, but the pen is magic.
The pen is magic. La pluma es la magia.
Yeah, of course. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, so you see the name, right? If I take I can pull it off and put it on my coat. See, now it's on my coat. You can't see it because it's on the coat, because it's magic. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. Okay, here, look. It's not on the card, but if I take the card, rub it where I put the ink, it comes back. That. Oh, do you want to know what a lot of people think?
What do they think?
They think there's something funny with the card. It's not the card. It's a special ink. And what did we say about the ink? It's magic, right?
It's
so
magic.
I'll leave your card right here. I won't mess with it. I'll take another card. I'll write my name on this one. So we have a Suzanne card. Oh, and this is a little note for people who do restaurant magic. If you can get your logo into something that you can write, always write it in a way that it looks like your logo. So see, can you see how that looks?
Maybe you can put it a little bit closer.
Can you see how that looks like?
Yes, Suzanne.
Logo. Yeah. So if you can make it so it looks like your logo, then and then this ends up being a giveaway for a restaurant. They will keep this more than they will keep your business card. So they always will have your name. Okay, so we have a Suzanne card, right? Can you see the Suzanne card?
Yep.
And then we have your card, right?
Nice.
Go like this because the ink is magic. If I go like that, the ink will, oh, it jumps, see? See how it jumps over?
Good.
So it's not on this one, right? It's on this one.
Nice.
See? And then if you give me your address, I'll mail that to, we'll get this to you so that you can have that.
Thank you.
Oh, but this is the fun thing. This is what I want to show you that I did invent this. So I want to do more. Oh, so when I'm doing the restaurant, I do this one. That's my opener. And then the trick seems like it's over, right? So, because that part is over. And then I say, I want to do more magic with these cards, but it's hard to do magic with these cards because these cards are blank, right? But if I wanted to, I could fix them. And then now they're real. And now every single one of them is real. Even on that side, they're real.
What? Nice. Nice.
Okay.
I think I didn't see that before. Like.
So this I did invent, and I'll tell you guys how to do it because I sell the thing.
Okay.
So do you want to translate all that and then ask them if they want to know how I did that?
Of course I do. Because, pues bueno, ahí estuvo el efecto. Wow, la neta estuvo bien chido. No, sí, estuvo muy chido. ¿Y qué creen que me acaba de decir Suzanne? Que nos va a enseñar a hacerlo. ¿Quieren aprender a hacerlo? Tienen que decir ahí si quieren aprender, si no, pues ella dice que no hay bronca que no nos enseñen. Pero pues, ¿quieren aprender sí o no? I'm waiting for them to respond if they want to learn it.
If they say they
It
do
says,
want to,
sí, yes, we want, please. Claro, for sure. Yes,
okay,
they want.
ready? Okay.
Yeah.
I have this thing here. It's just a holdout that I made. And it's I have a guy who has a 3D printer, and he prints these. And it has Velcro on this side, and this tube that holds the pen. And you can put it where you need it. Because what you want to simulate, oh, and then this just goes, this is Velcro, the other side.
Yeah.
So this is the loop part, and this is the soft part, and it just sticks right there, right? Okay, and then the pen goes in the tube, and then I have a top it here. So all my cards are here, okay?
Yes.
So these are the blank ones that I was using. And then you have an ace. Okay, so you can see the ace, yeah?
Yes.
And that goes on the face here. And then 2 cards, 2 go here, and 1 goes here. So there's 1 here, and there's 2, and then the ace.
The ace.
Okay? Then, so this is the side with the ace. That goes in the coat this way.
Okay.
Like right there. So it looks like that. Then, this camera's not high enough.
Don't worry.
So this is going to go like this. You come here, you drop this in the top it, and then you come up like that. But it's done at a point where it's got a lot of time misdirection. So
Yeah, like that you cannot find it.
No. The time misdirection as to when you switch it out. So I switch it out at this point. Let's say that's blank, okay? Because at this, here, let's do it like this. Okay. The name, yeah?
Yep.
So at this point, I do a top change that gets put in the middle of the deck. I have you tap on the top, tap.
It's like an ambitious card, right?
But the card is already on the top because I did a top change, right? And so there, the card is there. And everybody's looking at that. And I go, oh, let me tell you how this works. You have to have the pen. So that's how far back it is. And then I do the side steal and pull the name off, put it on my coat. And then I do a double lift and wipe it, right? And then I do another double, and I put that as blank. That's got the name on it. I write my name on this. Okay. And then I do, I think this is like a
Mexican turnover?
Well, I don't know if it's a Mexican turnover or if it's like because a Mexican turnover would be like that.
Yes.
Where it's left on the table. This is different because I'm picking it up and moving it. So it's kind of a cross between like a Mexican turnover and a 2-card monte move. Because
Okay. It's because we use that as a closer, like kind of like that, and when I put with the Mexican turnover.
Yeah, but I like to pick it up because
Yeah,
it's
you can give it.
more convincing. So you've got, here's this card and there's that card. So it seems more convincing.
Yeah, of course. Like it's like crossing and showing the same card because in the other, sometimes people tell me like, "Hey, it's the same card, right?" Like
Right.
in the
Yeah.
Mexican turnover, and this is like different.
Yeah. So with the Mexican turnover, if instead of leaving it on the table, if you go to pick it up, that changes it. It feels different, doesn't it? But it's basically the same thing. So I just found that if I go, here's my card, there's your card, then
It's a
it
great.
and it's so little different.
Yes, it's a
And
detail,
this is
a subtleness, right?
yeah, it's yeah, and this is just switching the cards, of course. Like
Yes.
yeah, but it's startling because it does look like it jumps, and then that's not there and that's not there. So that's how long this switched out deck is switched. I had all of those moves. So like,
And that's the time is direction you were saying, right?
yeah, half of the blank card trick was the deck has already been switched, right? Because you did more than half of the blank card trick, the deck has been switched out. Because you only did a double lift and a top change, and then you switch it out, and then you do a side steal, wipe it
The rubbing,
a double lift, and then the Mexican turnover, and then the switch. So the majority of the trick, this has been switched out. And this is sitting on the table in front of somebody else, like a patron, and they don't touch it because to them, that's a blank deck.
they're not important. Yeah, of course.
And then they forget that I've got my pocket. So as soon as I go like that, that's blank, that's blank, that's real, and that's real, and these are real, and that's real.
Okay, so then you get rid of all the three cards, or there's only one card right there.
Well, there's three blank ones, but then
Okay, but you how
those
one was at the bottom, right? And two were at the
yes,
top.
so two are on the bottom. Oh, and the reason that you have the ace there, by the way, the reason you have the ace there is I see what you're asking. There's only one. By the time I get to picking up the deck, there's only one here, and there's only one here, because I used one of them for the.
How do you get rid of the bottom one?
Oh, so I always put the deck down the same way, so the ace is on the bottom, so it's a face down deck here. So I pick it up, and then I just peel that off. Those cards are blank.
Oh, okay. Whoa, yeah.
The reason you have the ace there is because if you hold your hand like that, that's blank, but really it's an ace, but you're covering the pips. So you can turn it over, right? So if you take this off and you go, that's blank, that looks blank.
Yes.
So when you go like that, that's startling.
Yeah, that fooled me when you did it.
And that cuts the ace in. So now the ace isn't on the bottom anymore.
Damn, that's great. Great.
But so I have a guy who makes these for me, and we sell them for $50 American normally, but
Okay.
I do lectures and stuff, I'll sell them for $40. Now to ship to Mexico, we might need to, normally we cover shipping because it's just in the US, and I'd have to find out how much it costs to ship them to Mexico.
And I think right now we cannot ship many things, right? I think they're closed.
Oh, you can't? Because of COVID, you can't? Oh.
Yeah, right now, I think last week they canceled all the shippings of emergency, like Amazon and stuff like that. And also, I think there's no commercial flights as if you're not from the United States. Like, for example, I cannot go there right now because I don't live there. And I don't have a proof that I work or something like that over there, so they don't let me in. And the same for you.
You have to build a wall.
Yes.
Now okay, I don't mean to get political. And,
I know.
And you don't need to translate if you don't want to. Trump said he was going to get Mexico to pay for the wall.
I know, right?
And this is how he's doing it. He's getting us so bad with COVID that you guys don't want us anymore.
We're building the wall. I think we are.
You can translate that if you want.
Actually, one of my friends told me the same thing. Like, bro, now we want to get the wall, man. And I was like, no.
I would double high five you if we could. Thank you.
That's great. Okay, so bueno, ya nos pusimos en asuntos políticos de shipping por lo de México y esto y el otro. Pero, bueno, dice que Trump dijo que íbamos a pagar el muro nosotros y que ahora están ellos tan mal con el COVID. Ahora los mexicanos íbamos a querer pagar el muro, ¿no? Entonces, pues bueno, ahí está el tutorial. Chavos, no sé si tienen alguna pregunta de acuerdo con cómo hacer esto. Me estaba comentando que ella tiene un amigo que hace estos clips para el saco, para que podamos hacer el efecto. La verdad, yo creo que está increíble, está bien chido. Y dice que tiene un precio de $50. Lo estuvieron vendiendo también por 40 ahorita. Pero tendríamos que ver lo del shipping a México, ¿no? Y como México, Estados Unidos y Canadá, creo que cerraron otra vez las cuestiones de mercancía y vuelos comerciales. Sí hay, pero creo que necesitas ser o comprobar que tienes algo allá o trabajar allá o viceversa para poder ir. Rich, él es el que nos puede ayudar a solucionar eso. La verdad no sé cómo esté muy bien, algo por ahí había leído. Pero bueno, ahí está el tutorial, ¿no? El how to do it ¿cómo se llama? Del truco. What's the name of the trick?
Which trick?
Sorry?
The blank card.
Yeah. What's the name of that routine for you?
I just call it the blank card trick, but there's a guy in Maryland, Baltimore maybe. His name is Seth Kramer.
Okay.
And he wrote this just a thought project, and he called it Blank Ambition.
Blank Ambition. Yeah, because it's kind of like an ambitious, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically a blank ambitious card routine. But the neat thing.
But with the switch deck.
Yeah, well, I added in the switch deck because I was already doing the blank ambitious card.
Yes.
And I thought, wouldn't it be neat if you could change the blank cards into real cards instead of like then going, oh, okay, I'm done with my blank cards, so I'll put them away and then I'll take out my real cards. Because a real magician would fix them, right?
Yes, exactly. So it's like how to follow your routine in a way that you don't need to say like, oh, I cannot do anything more with these cards, right? Right.
I'm just putting that if people want to get some stuff, they just will PayPal.
Yeah, put it on the chat.
Okay.
With Reach.
Yeah, so I just sent him that. And then I can tell you what the prices of the things are. So, but we don't have to do that right now. But so this would be like blank ambitious card routine. And then after this, then you can do whatever you want with, because it's just a regular deck. Or you could bring in a mem deck, or you could bring in, you know, stack deck. You could bring in anything.
Anything you want. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to feed my cat because he's almost going over the food. Okay, so yeah.
And I just do a card to pocket after that.
Wow. What was the first trick you presented in a restaurant?
The first trick I did at a restaurant was probably, might have been a card to pocket, because I've been pocket forever.
That's the effect that got me in love with magic, the card to pocket.
Yeah, so the 4 tricks that Al taught me was card to pocket, card warp, a little thing where I vanished a little a ribbon. I vanished a little ribbon, and it was just a thumb tip thing, little ribbon, and then I pulled it out of a scarf.
Yep.
And then matrix. And then I did some other coin things. So he taught me like coins across, and I got like a little teeny invisible deck. So, you know, like the cards that are like this big, I got invisible deck. And then when they got done shuffling the invisible deck, they toss me the deck, and I go, and now it's real, and then it's little, right?
Wow.
I did extreme burn. I've got some interesting.
Oh, extreme burn! It's a jewel for many restaurants.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a big tip on extreme burn. Do you have the problem with extreme burn is on the gimmick? When you make the gimmick, you get a square, and then you have to remake the gimmick.
Exactly.
Do you have that problem?
Well, the square is always there. You need to remake it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had this set for 3 years. I
Wow.
have to remake it, and I'll tell you what I did. If you get, and I'll send it to Rich, or you can just, you could probably type it in, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's 3M lead tape.
3M?
3M is a company.
Yeah, I know. But what was the name?
And lead tape. So it's
LED?
LEAD, like lead.
LEAD.
Yeah, like don't eat lead because that'll make you poisonous. So it's 3M lead tape, and this is the side with the gimmick. This is the gimmick side, right?
Yep.
And the tape comes down to about here. So I have strips of this lead tape that comes down to about this far, but it's real thin and it's flexible. I mean, I can feel that it's there, and I can bend it, and you can see how it stays because it's lead, right? But it flips really easy because it's weighted, just like
Exactly.
My daily is like, yeah, it's weighted, so it flips really nice, right?
Oh my God. I love how it's every time I see that change is like
It looks like magic, doesn't it? I mean,
it is.
Well, it looks like camera tricks.
And it has some weight on it, so yeah.
Yeah, if you put that lead tape on that side, and it goes to about here, so it's right along the edge, and it has a really nice weight to it. So if you already know how to make the gimmick, and you've got to remake it because you're getting that square,
Yeah.
right? Buy some of the Now,
It's a way not to spend more money.
well, this lead tape is so inexpensive. You can get it at a golf pro shop because people will put lead tape on the bottom of their golf clubs to give it a little bit more of a
Hit.
weight. Or at like a tennis shop, they'll put it on the end of the tennis racket.
Yep.
And you only need about that much of it.
Okay, very good.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's a way not to spend the money that you have to spend after remaking the gimmick.
Right. I mean, this is what, like $600. This is the most expensive trick that I own right here.
And the most, like, it comes from your money, like you use your real money to do real magic.
Exactly. But you can make it with smaller bills, but because I work in an upscale restaurant, I use the hundreds, because if I take ones and turn them into hundreds and then turn them back, people will tip me more. I don't know.
It's an unconscious tip strategy.
Yeah. Oh, but I have a feeling about the script. I don't know how I could tell you the script and then have you translate it.
Yes.
But the script that I do, I have a reason for why they're ones to start with, and then they're hundreds, and then I turn them back to ones. The idea is that I have this product that you spray on the bills that camouflages the bill, and it starts out being a big bill, but then I camouflage it to have it look like a one. So then I start out with the ones and I say, well, these aren't really ones, these are actually camouflaged. What they actually are hundreds. And then I show the hundreds. And then I say, but you don't want to keep them like that because it's not safe. I could get mugged. So I have to turn them back so nobody mugs me. That's the idea of the script. I don't like the idea of having ones and magically turning them to hundreds and then you turn them back. Because why would you turn them back?
Exactly.
If you could actually turn them. So,
but you can actually do it, which is fun.
Yeah. I mean, I could do the script for you, and then if you wanted to try to translate it, but I don't know.
No, it's good. It's good. Don't worry. If you wanna do it, we can do it. But that not. We have more questions to do for you as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just let me go on.
The most important thing about the extreme burn thing is putting the lead tape in instead of that little square weight.
Thank you for that tip. I think a lot of us do stream burn in some point, or so we do it for shows, for example.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great tip for everybody. Thank you. Let me go translate a little bit what we talked about this, and I'll come back with you, okay? Pues chicos, una cosa nos llevó a la otra. Yo le pregunté a Suzanne cuál era el primer truco que hizo ella en un restaurante. Ella me empezó a decir los efectos que ella sabía, que ella conocía, que ella le enseñó. Card to pocket, ambitious card, ambitious blank card y todo eso, ella ya lo hacía, ¿no? El primero que hizo fue el card to pocket. Y bueno, ahí empezamos a hablar de varios trucos, de varios efectos que ella tiene en su repertorio para restaurantes. Y pues salió el tema del extreme burn, ¿no? Yo le dije que ese efecto era muy bueno. Y pues ella nos estaba dando un tip de ponerle esta cinta que se llama LED tape, que es una cinta de la marca 3M, que la podemos encontrar, yo creo que en algún Office Depot o Office Max o cualquier super tienda de oficinas que esté cerca de su casa o por el estilo, en papelerías. Pues ahí este es un tip que nos dio Suzanne para el extreme board, para que tenga un poquito más de peso y que no se rompa tanto. Y bueno, no es que no se rompa, pero es que se marque el cuadrito, ¿no? Y que lo tengamos que hacer otra vez, ¿no? Para que nos ahorremos este protocolo de hechura del gimmick, ¿ok? Y pues bueno, vamos a continuar con las preguntas, ¿no? Suzanne, so, you know, right now, with the COVID thing and the pandemic thing, magic has turned out to be more digital, right? A lot of magicians, a lot of people are making Zoom shows and are making online shows for people and online lessons also, lectures, interviews, for example, as we are doing. Like this project started because we didn't know what to do for our people, and we wanted to
Right.
keep them focused and to keep them in the mood of magic, like that they could have a lot of interaction with many magicians. And luckily, we've had a lot of magicians working with us. Thank you for you being one of them that you want to share with us. And well, how do you see magic in the future? Like, how do you think this is gonna be after all this thing? Do you think it's gonna repertoire in the fact of life magic, or how do you see it in the future? How do you see this magic thing?
I've been thinking about that a lot. I have a huge hope that it goes back to the way that it was, like after a vaccine, um, and that we get some herd immunity going, then maybe it can go back the way it was. Because I not embrace the Zoom show at all. I kind of feel like a little old lady yelling at young kids to get off my lawn, going, "Not going to do it like that." Because I can connect. I can connect okay in like an interview or a lecture or something like that. But as a performance, the lighting has to be just right, because you can't tell what card that. Well, that's an easy one, but it's harder to tell what the cards are unless I'm holding them just right, because there's too much glare. I've got to get, like, my lighting has got to be better. I've got to get a better camera, and I I'm so resistant to it. So I would like to just be able to go back to normal. Um, Whether we're actually going to be able to go back to normal, I don't know. We're being so stupid here in the States. Um, my state is one of the ones that's holding steady to where we're not getting more. So some of our restaurants are sort of open, but only for outside. Um, but I don't see me going back anytime soon. So I've done a couple Zoom shows and I don't like it. So I think I'm just reading a lot.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Here in Mexico, we opened some restaurants. They're working at their 30th percent. Here in Vallarta, in Puerto Vallarta, I already started going to the restaurants, but I mean, it's super slow. It's people, some
How can you
people
do how can you do magic if people are going to touch stuff though?
actually, I try not to give them the card or something like that. I try to do it all by my own. But you know
Uh,
what? People right now are such desperate because they've been in quarantine all this time that they don't care. Believe me,
yeah,
they don't care. They just want to touch the card. They just want to take the card. They just want to be out of the thing, right?
right, right,
Believe
right,
me,
right.
before the COVID, I would get 8 out of 10 tables. Today, with the COVID thing, that we tell them, like, in being grateful for you being back with us, we give you a little bit of fun with a magic show, and people go like, "Yeah, give it to me. Just take me out of here," like.
Yeah,
But I think we're gonna close again because the cases are going up here. Here in
right.
Mexico, the COVID situation, it's a little bit tough. We have a curve that doesn't go down or it's steady in the situation, right, with the people infected. But you see people like don't caring anymore because they just want to be free. So I think
Yeah,
sooner or later everything's gonna be back to normality. I believe before Christmas we will be better. I hope, right?
yeah,
And because I personally wish for all of the people that we dedicate our life to magic to be able to live the life we were used to doing what we love, right? Because I think there's no worse thing that do something that you don't want to do or do something that
right.
you don't love as a way of making a living. So I personally think it has to go back, right? But well,
Right.
speaking of the thing that has how we see magic, so you think virtual magic is going to be another branch of magic within the future
Can you ask
that
that?
people are going to, yeah, like, do you think people are going to, is going to be, well, sorry, that virtual magic is going to be another branch of magic within the future that, I don't know,
Yeah, I
people
think it is.
preferring to see a virtual show or want to live the experience of a virtual show and or something like that? Do you think that's going to happen?
I think it is going to happen. I don't know on what level. I've already been asked to do, like, I've got an email that I've got to respond to today for somebody who wants me to do a virtual show. But I've got 2 bookings in August, like actually going to a place and doing magic.
For people.
And whether I actually want to do it or not, I don't know. Because I'm at a high risk to get COVID. I actually think I already had it, so I'd like to do an antibody test to see if I really had it or not. But I don't want to get it because I don't know if I'd be healthy enough to be able to come out of it. But I also don't want to pass it on to somebody else. If I'm a carrier of it, I don't want to pass it on to somebody else. So I don't necessarily like the idea of doing those 2 shows in August, but we've got here, the government is kind of doing unemployment for self-employed people for a short period of time, but it ends in July. And so I have no way to make any money after July. So I kind of have to go do a couple shows. Right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation when it comes to health, right?
Yeah, so hopefully I already had it. I might do an antibody test, see if I already had it, because I got really sick at the end of March.
At the end of March, so it was
end of
going
March
on already.
Right. So and we locked down on March 14th. So and I had a private party on March 13th and 2 private parties on March 14th. So it's reasonable that if I got really sick at the end of March, so I might have already had it. And if that's the case, then I won't be able to pass it on to anybody, and then I don't have to worry about, like, if I do magic. What I want to do is to start at the restaurant again. I want to figure out how to just go, oh, we're going to do magic here. Poof, here's some hand sanitizer. Everybody's got to use it. And just magically make hand sanitizer appear. That would be fun.
There's many ways to do magic at a restaurant right now. I think, for example, a friend of us is doing magic like with his own little table, with his pad and everything, but not giving anything to these people. He's calling like call a card and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe this will change a little bit magic in the kind of interaction with people. We don't know. As I tell you here, the experiences are like, yeah, give it to me. I don't care, right? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell these guys a little bit what we talked about. Pues chicos, pues básicamente yo le pregunté cómo veía la magia a Susana en el futuro, ¿no? Así como cuáles eran sus expectativas para la magia, porque sabemos que pues hemos dado un pequeño cambio, ¿no? En las cuestiones por el COVID, y ella dice que pues las cosas van difíciles, ella no tiene trabajo, no anda chambeando por la cuestión del COVID, pero que ella piensa que las cosas van a volver a la normalidad, que la gente va a seguir viendo la magia tradicional como la ven, y pues bueno, esperemos que eso pase pronto. Yo le comentaba que aquí en Vallarta pues también ya se ve un poco de movimiento en cuestión de restaurantes y todo eso, y entonces pues esperemos que eso pase. Pero yo le decía que si ella veía a la magia como una rama más a la magia virtual, a los shows en línea, como una rama más de mercado para la magia, ¿no? Entonces ella dice que sí, que posiblemente mucha gente pues quiera en algún futuro cercano hacer o ver shows de magia en línea, ¿no? Y pues creo que, pues, no tiene nada de malo, cada quien tenemos los gustos, ¿no? Como ella dice, y pues también, pero también esperamos que ya esto termine porque la situación está difícil, ¿no? Pero bueno, vamos a pasar a otros temitas por ahí porque queremos ponernos tristes, ¿ok? So, Suzanne, now, I know you've been living like most of your life as a magician, right? So I have to tell you, I have to ask you something that we ask to every participant of this kind of interviews. Is there something that you don't like about being a magician? Tough one, tough one.
No, I can't think of one thing. Other than, I mean, like, I'd have to like joke and say I don't like driving in the snow in the winter to go to a show, but um, I can't think of one thing that I don't like about being a magician.
That's great.
I love every bit of it. I like connecting with people. I like for me, it's not about the trick. It's not about fooling somebody. It's not about getting people to think I'm better than them or smarter than them, or it's all about like touching somebody's heart or
transmitting emotion.
Or that's what magic is a vehicle for me to meet people, and I ended up being good enough at it to make a living.
It's great. That's great. So let me tell these guys. Entonces yo le pregunté aquí a Suzanne que cuál era algo que no, qué era eso que no le gustaba de ser maga, ¿no? Pues resulta que no le gusta, no hay nada que no le guste acerca de ser quien es, de ser una maga profesional, ¿no? Ella dice, te diría de chiste que no me gusta manejar en la nieve cuando tengo que ir a dar un show, ¿verdad? Pero pues no es lo que queremos llegar, ¿no? Entonces ella dice que a ella la magia no la ve como bueno, que para empezar no tiene nada que no le guste, ¿no? Y que la magia ella la ve como una herramienta para conocer personas, ¿no? Que es lo que a ella le gusta conectar con las personas y finalmente ella se dio cuenta que a través de la magia pues podía conectar con ellas y pues conocer personas, ¿no? Entonces, pues no, eso es lo que a ella le gusta. Ella ve la magia como un vehículo para conectar con las personas, ¿no? No es tanto como de para creerse más inteligente que ellos o para demostrar que ella puede hacer cosas distintas o no, simplemente es como una manera de conectar con la gente y de transmitir pues emociones, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que eso está increíble. Thank you for that answer, Suzanne. That's a great answer. I like listening of people that like everything and absolutely everything about being a magician, right? So, what is something that you think? What is the situation? Where is the moment where you how can I say it? Like, what is a marking moment for you to be who you are right now, like through your magic career?
Can you ask that just a little bit different? Because I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Like, there is some moment, for example, with me, when I got hired by Vallarta Adventures here in Vallarta, I was like, okay, this marks my career. I was not working in magic. I was just doing for fun. And then suddenly I get hired by a restaurant. And so this is the moment where I get to be what I am right now, like the magician that I am right now.
So like sort of a peak experience.
Yes, that you said, you know what, this is it.
So I've had a few of those. So my first peak experience was when I got the job at the American Cafe, because I was so new at the whole thing. And then I auditioned and the guy was like, yeah, would love to have you. So, and then that kind of kicked it off. And then the first time that I worked at the Magic Castle and that I got a standing ovation. And
Wow.
been doing magic for 3 years and I was getting a standing ovation at the Magic Castle. And Di Vernon came to see my show 3 times. And I mean, that was like, I was so young in magic and so new to it. And then to already get to that level. And then winning Close Up Magician of the Year was amazing.
Yes, of course.
And then Fooling Penn and Teller. So, I mean, those were huge peak experiences.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like there's some big experiences where you say this is it, right? And well, you have some very interesting, by the way, right? I mean, Di Vernon in your show, it's like something that if Di Vernon was alive, I think that's something that everybody would want to do, right? Like having him in one of your shows and being able to even meet him, like just that, right? Oh, well, thank you. Oh,
It was terrifying.
yes, I bet.
I didn't expect him to come to my show, and I come out behind the curtain, and he's sitting there, front seat, leaning on his cane like that. It scared the crap out of me. He didn't
What a
kick
great
me,
honor.
so I must have done something right.
And then seeing him twice more, it was like, whoa, yep. Right?
That's yeah, great. And by the end of the week, he was sitting and hanging with me, so that was fun. So,
wow, that's great. Let me tell these guys what we were telling about. So, chicos, la pregunta pues fue, ¿cuál es el momento que marca tu carrera, no? ¿Cuál es el momento donde tú te das cuenta que dices, esto es lo que quiero, ¿no? Para mi life, para mi vida. Y pues me dice que ella tuvo varios, ¿no? Desde el momento de conocer a un mago, en el momento de trabajar para el restaurante este de American Café, ¿no? Ese es uno de los momentos. El trabajar en el Magic Castle, tener a Di Vernon entre la audiencia 3 veces y tener en su primer show una ovación a pie, ¿no? En su show. Yo creo que dice que es uno de los momentos, bueno, el estar con Penn and Teller en Fulos. Ella ha tenido bastantes momentos que han marcado para ella lo que es ahora Suzanne, ¿no? Entonces, pues es súper interesante, le digo, que toda la experiencia y todas las cosas que le han pasado, y pues estamos muy agradecidos que las comparta con nosotros, ¿no? Suzanne, so besides magic, like magic as an art form, is there another art that you practice or that you are into?
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you asked that. So in about 2004, I think it was, I always wanted a horse. So in 2004, I got my first horse. And I kind of learned with him a little bit. And then sadly, I lost him about 3 years later because he got sick. And then I got another horse. And he has a YouTube channel. So I'll send that YouTube channel.
Great. I want to see it.
And then I had him for about 9 years. And then I lost him because he was struck by lightning. That was weird. I was doing the Texas Association of Magicians Magic Convention in Houston or someplace in Texas. And while I was there, he was struck by lightning. And so I had been in horses long enough, and I had been training them at that point, because then I started training them. And then I got this little baby. And I'll send a
baby horse?
A baby horse, yeah. And and so I've had her for 5 years. So I guess she was 1. I've had her for 5 years, and she does some amazing tricks. I'll throw I've got a rubber chicken dog toy, and I'll throw that, and she'll go get it and bring it back, and she bows, and I'll be on her back, and I'll throw my hat on the ground, and she'll pick it up and give it to me, and she smiles, and she's funny. But when you translate, I'll text Rich the YouTube channel for my one horse that I learn how to teach tricks. And so I don't have a YouTube channel for my current horse, but so that's my other love, and that's what I'm doing a lot of right now that I can't work. I'm just out
training your horse.
Training other people's horses too. So
oh, that's great. That's great. So you really love horses, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you have them like, and you go ride with them, or you just pet them, or you do some like you going on the horse and jumping and stuff like that. That's what you do.
Yeah, I ride like on trails, and then I do like trick training. Right now, I'm trying to get her to tell the difference between a black face card and random some other card.
Wow.
So get her to see the difference between like say these cards. Like if I have all of these cards oops, let's go this. Nope, it's better this way. So if I have all of these cards in big versions and I laminate them and I force this one, nope, if I force the jack out of all these, and the only time she gets a treat when she sees all of these cards, if the only time she gets the treat is when she gives me this one, then
she'll learn.
Then I'll get the right card, and it'll look like my card, my horse is.
That's great.
That. So that's what I'm teaching her right now, and so their horses are really smart.
Yeah.
Be able to tell the difference, but it's got to be something dramatic. Like it's got to be dramatic, like that difference. So this one has a lot of ink and it's red, and this one doesn't have as much ink. So she'll be able to tell the difference between these two, but she might not be able to tell the difference between these two.
Okay, but she's gonna see the difference like between the others. So if others are the same with not a lot of ink, she will tell it.
Right. Yeah. So if I can do that, then that would probably go viral.
I imagine your show like, and well, my assistant, the horse.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let me tell these guys, this is really funny. Bueno, pues la pregunta del arte, que si ella dominaba otra forma de arte, básicamente nos compartió un poco de lo que es su pasión, la otra pasión que ella ama, aparte de la magia, y es pues convivir con los caballos, ¿no? Le gustan mucho los caballos. Dice que que ella tuvo un caballo, siempre quiso un caballo, y en 2004, me parece, se compró su primer caballo, luego falleció 3 años después, y luego tuvo otro caballo y le hizo un canal de YouTube, y que nos va a pasar, por cierto. Y y pues bueno, después de 9 años también lo perdió. Porque le cayó un rayo, eso estuvo muy raro, ¿no? Le cayó un rayo al caballo. Me dijo Suzanne que ella estaba en una convención de magos en Texas, y en ese mismo tiempo fue cuando le cayó a su caballo el rayo, lightning, ¿no? Y pues pues falleció. Y ya después se compró tiene una bebé caballo que le enseña a hacer trucos. Dice que también se volvió como tipo entrenadora de caballos para de trucos y así, y que quiere entrenar a su caballo para que vea la diferencia entre una carta de figura como un jack, una J o algo así, rey, y con cartas que no tengan mucha tinta, ¿no? Entonces le digo que me imagino su show así con mi asistente, el caballo, ¿no? Entonces le da mucha risa, pues, porque básicamente enseñar al caballo a sacar la carta del espectador, ¿no? Pues qué padre. Well, that's so good. That's so interesting. The fact that you want to train your horse to be uh, a magician horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I do want to say something about training animals. If you can train an animal and think in terms of your audience participant is like that animal. The animal doesn't necessarily know what you want. And so you need to be gentle with them and help them understand what you want and be patient with them. And so the more I trained horses, the better magician I became because I could see the horse's body language. If the horse didn't want to talk to me, they'd go like this. So if you're talking to a little kid, so you've got a little kid and a parent here, and you're talking to the kid, and the kid goes like this, you need to back off. You can't force that kid to interact with you. So what I do is I'll say, you know, I want to do a trick with the kid. And if the kid gives any indication that they're scared of me at all, I'll start talking to the adult. And especially with like the blank card trick, I'll give the blank cards to the adult and I'll have the adult say, here, pick a card to the kid. They'll do this. Okay, you got the card now, put it back. Now go like that. And that's your card. Ha ha ha. And the adult does it. And once the parent does it, the kid will feel more comfortable with me. And I learned all of that from training horses.
Wow.
Because horses are scared of us because we're predators. So if we approach our magic as if we're predators, then our audience will be scared of us to some extent. Wow. So try to approach them as their prey animals, and you want to befriend them, not eat them. Does that make sense what I said?
Yes, of course, of course. But it's so interesting how you learned all these things through training horses, right? I mean, how horses developed another human behavior comprehension, right?
Yeah. Right.
Just being in touch with the animals, and well, in the end, we are all animals, right? So yeah, it's cool how you find the link between one thing and the other, and it's also really interesting listening that you consider you became a better magician by training with horses, right? So do you think you became a better magician, or you think you became better understanding the people's reaction?
I think understanding people's reactions and how their bodies tell the truth. Once you understand that makes you a better magician.
Yeah, sorry, I misexplained my question. Like, I consider like with the techniques or with the public control or something like that.
Oh, with the public control.
Yeah, right.
Technique is technique, and you can have flawless technique and be a crappy magician. Like, for instance, I'm going to say Al Schneider, my mentor. Technique-wise is amazing, but he's not a good performer.
Okay.
So if you watch his YouTube channel, so if you go to, I'll see if I can find it when you're translating all this, I'll see if I can find his YouTube channel so it can get put in the comments. When you watch his YouTube channel, to lay people, he's kind of boring. To magicians, they're like,
that's interesting.
Oh, because he's so skilled. But lay people think he's boring, and he'll fight with them.
Okay. Okay.
And you can't tug of war with your audience. Like you can't tug of war with a horse. A horse is going to pull you off your feet. You can't tug of war with your audience, because then that makes everybody your audience participants with turns against you, and you want them on your side.
Of course, yes.
You want to befriend them. Does that make sense?
Yes, completely. Thank you again.
I just realized I had on a horse shirt.
Oh, I didn't realize. Well, we cannot see it. Oh, I now I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't realize I had on a horse shirt until I went, oh, I got on my horse shirt.
yeah. You love horses besides magic, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let me tell these guys. Eh, me explica ahorita como un aditamento de la pregunta anterior que pues ella a través de con la convivencia con los animales se cree ella que se volvió una mejor maga, ¿no? O sea, que el hecho de comprender el lenguaje del animal, de si no quería hablar con ella, de si no estaba a gusto, si tenía miedo, todo eso lo pudo ella relacionar con la magia y, y con el comportamiento humano, ¿no? Entonces ella dice que a partir de que ella, pues, empezó con esto de los caballos, ella siente que la hizo una mejor maga. Yo le preguntaba que si una mejor maga o una mejor o mejorar con el público y ella me dio una respuesta que es cierto, mejorar con el público te hace una mejor maga. Entonces yo le explico que malinterpreté mi pregunta, era más bien como si cree que se volvió mejor en cuestión de técnica con las manos o de ángulos o de relación interpersonal, ¿no? Y ella me dijo que no, que de relación, que puedes tener una técnica increíble y ser un mago pedante o un mago no bueno o un mago, pues, no interesante, ¿no? Como me decía de su mentor, de Al Schneider, que él era muy bueno con la técnica, pero la gente decía que su método, o sea, la gente que no sabía magia, decía que era un poquito aburrido, ¿no? Y bueno, eso fue lo que nos compartió ahorita Suzanne. Suzanne, well, another question that we want to do to you is like, what is what is a technique that you consider completely mandatory for any magician? Speaking about if you think it's a technique like a double A or something like that, or you think it's something related with the public, what do you think it's the most essential technique for a magician?
If we're talking about technique for like card magic, double lift, top change, I think are extremely important. A lot of stuff you can get out of a lot of stuff with a top change. So double lift, top change, I think are really important. Having a good false transfer. So having a good false transfer, so you have a coin and you squeeze it and then it goes away and then you bring it back. Having a good false transfer is important because if you're going to do coin magic, you need to be able to make it disappear. And when I first learned the false transfer from Al Schneider, learning that taught me how to learn in little increments, because how he taught was in to train your body to be able to do it instead of just the concept. You take the coin and pretend to throw it into your hand, because if you don't break it down into little bits, then you're not going to be able to learn it. So a good false transfer, a good double lift, a good top change for cards and coins, those will start you in being able to think critically about magic. Does that answer your question? I'm a little
Yes. That's
okay.
in the part of a technique, for example, and when you get to, for example, one of the magicians that we talked about, he told us that a technique that he considers essential for any magician is to be able to lie, right? Like, yeah. So, or for example, another magician told us like, to manage the public or to get to know your effects, right?
I see what you're saying. Yes, right. Yeah. You know, and what's funny is I never really looked at magic as lying. I looked at it as storytelling.
Of course, yes.
yeah, so I never had the guilt. I know there's a lot of magicians who have a guilt of, here's one card I'm turning over, but it's actually two, and they feel guilt that they're lying. And I never felt that lie because I looked at it as storytelling and not lying. But audience management, I would say, so if we're not looking at technique for like magic technique, um, audience management, I think, is one of the most important things. And if, so I've got the Magic Castle download, and I don't know if Rich has put all the stuff that I've texted in the comments or not, but if somebody wants to get the Magic Castle download, the guy in the, you know what I would do is I would, Rich, if you can share that video that I shared with you, that's the performance part of the Magic Castle download teaching video. And that guy was so drunk. And he was really somebody I really needed to manage. So just watching that performance will teach you a lot about having a very drunk audience participant.
I hate performing for drunks.
I love it.
I don't know. Sometimes they're so imprudent, or they just want to me put something in their hands or something like that. I don't know. I don't have that technique.
Yeah.
Dominated.
Well, watch that show and see what I'm doing. And if you have questions about it, feel free to message me, and I'll walk you through some stuff.
That's great.
That is my favorite person, is a really drunk person. I'm not talking falling down, can't see drunk, not that kind of person, because they're impossible to play with, but the person who is really super happy drunk, like,
okay, yeah,
to be driving, they should not be driving, but they're also not wetting themselves, you don't,
they're not drowning themselves in alcohol.
Yeah, you have to have it somewhere in between there.
In the middle. Okay, very good. Let me tell these guys about it. Pues, bueno, estábamos hablando, pues, ya terminamos hablando hasta de la magia con los borrachos, ¿no? Pero la pregunta fue, ¿cuál es la técnica que tú consideras que es indispensable para los magos? Y ella nos dijo que técnicamente hablando de trucos con cartas, ella considera que el double lift, el top change, y bueno, que el double lift y el top change son dos herramientas que te pueden servir a ti como mago para obtener un punto crítico de vista acerca de la magia. Pues, o sea, más crítico, ¿no? De poder hacer muchas cosas involucrando únicamente esas dos técnicas. Entonces, ella cree que esta es una buena técnica, una de las técnicas indispensables. Y también la cuestión de la moneda, ¿no? De que si vas a hacer magia con moneda, que tener un buen depósito falso, ¿no? Donde puedas convencer a la gente de que realmente está desapareciendo. Y pues bueno, en cuestión de la cuestión teórica, por así decirlo, teórico-práctica, hablábamos del manejo de la atención, ¿no? Yo le comentaba que en una ocasión nos dijeron que una de las técnicas más importantes era aprender a dominar la mentira, por ejemplo, ¿no? Entonces ella me comprendió que el control de la audiencia es algo que es muy importante. Tienes que saber controlar a tu audiencia sin importar las situaciones en las que te encuentres. El video que nos pasó ahorita Rich es de un video donde nos dice que ella está haciendo la magia a un chavo que está súper borracho, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que todos hemos tenido ese episodio donde tenemos que hacerle magia a alguien que está un poco tomado, ¿no? Entonces ahí ella dice que tienes que aprender a llevar a tu audiencia de las diferentes maneras que la audiencia se pueda presentar, ¿no? Y yo creo que tiene razón, el manejo de la audiencia es algo muy importante para todos nosotros, ¿vale? Suzanne, I have a personal question. This is not in the pool of the questions we already planned, but I want to ask you this. Do you think misdirection, it's the same thing as management of the attention?
It can be, yes. I mean, misdirection could be like time misdirection, like when I changed when I switch the deck out, that's not necessarily management, that's using time to get them to forget the thing. Misdirection could be doing your body language backwards. Like if you say, look, 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 so all my focus is here, look, look, look. But then when I relax back, you're not looking anymore. And that's when I do the funny thing, right? That is a form of misdirection. But misdirection could also be audience management, where you address a person, and while you're addressing them, then you're doing something. Or you'll put your hand on their shoulder and you can do something when you do that. So it can be that, but it can also be time. It can also be focus. Does that answer your question?
Yes, for sure, for sure. So, chicos, yo les decía aquí a Suzanne que una pregunta muy personal. Yo quería saber, con esto de que estamos hablando de del manejo del público, yo quería preguntarle si es lo mismo para ella la misdirection y el manejo de la atención de la persona, ¿no? Entonces comentábamos, y ella dice que sí, que podría ser, ¿no? Porque la misdirection puede ser de tiempo, ¿no? Puede ser de atención y también esa capacidad de manejar al público y poder, al acercarte a él, hacer algo por acá, del otro lado, o simplemente al tocar su hombro, poder hacer algo diferente, pues sí, ambas entran en el mismo grupo, ¿no? En la misdirection. Entonces, pues, thank you for that answer. And we're almost finishing with this. It's so sad because I've had a great time here talking with you. So this is one of the last questions, if not the last. If you have, let's suppose you have a family social event with you and your friends, right? If you had to, and you want a magic show for them, if it's close up or a scenario or whatever, you choose it. But you had to invite one of your colleagues or something like that, or not your colleagues, but any magician that you could bring that's alive for sure. Who would you bring to your party to do magic for your people?
Oh, wow.
Wow, right?
For that is the magician who would be performing?
For what, sorry?
That I would be having a party and I'm going to invite a magician to perform.
Yeah, but you're not performing. Only he's performing all the entertainment for all your family and friends.
So, oh gosh, there are so many.
I know, right?
So I do a show here prior to COVID. I did a show once a month on a Sunday, and we called it Sunday Night Magic. And I would invite my friends from California and from Chicago and from New York to come and perform and lecture for my local audience here. And we would sell tickets, and we get about 100 people to come. And so I get my favorite performers. So I actually get to do what you're saying, but we would do it once a month, so I would get all of my favorite people. Okay. So do you know who Jonathan Levitt is?
Jonathan Levitt?
Jonathan Levitt. Look up Jonathan Levitt.
How do you spell his last name?
L-E-V-I-T.
Okay, yeah. Jonathan Levitt. No, I don't know him, but I'm going to look for it.
Yeah, so look him up. He's got a lot of really great things, and he's got a great lecture. You guys would love talking to him. So Jonathan Levitt is a really good friend of mine from the Magic Castle. David Regal is a good friend of mine. I would love to have him. Pop Hayden, I'd love to have him. I had Eugene Berger come out. I had Max Maven come out.
Max Maven, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. I've known Max forever.
That's great. We worked with him last year in a convention here in Mexico. Well, not convention. It's like a magician's reunion. We worked with him no, well, Danny the artist didn't come. Mario Lopez, Howard Hamburg,
Oh, yep.
Rodas, you know, all of that team. So yeah, he's a man. But yeah, you were discussing other magicians. Sorry, I interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's okay. So it's hard for me to pick one because I have, so there's another guy, his name is Matt Murphy. I know him from the Magic
What?
Castle. Do you know Matt Murphy?
Matt Mercy, Matmursi.
Arcy. He is hilarious. He was also on Fool Us. Matt Murphy was also on Fool Us. And he did, well, it'll be obvious what he did. He did the invisible deck, but he did it in PowerPoint form. So,
Wow.
Of course, he did it full Penn and Teller, but it was hilarious. So if you look up Matt Murphy on Fool Us, you'll see the most creative invisible deck you'll ever see in your life.
I'm on a search rate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got a lot of my friends that are just, they're amazing and funny and very wonderful. So it's really hard for me to pick just one.
But those are great. Those are great referrals. I'm gonna look for Matt Marcy and for Jonathan Levitt because I don't know them, but I'm gonna look for them and see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So Suzanne, that was the last question that we had for you, and I really had a great time talking to you.
I had a great time talking with you.
It's great to have the opportunity to be in a conversation with people that are really talented and special. And it's also really special for us that you are helping us with this project, that you're collaborating with us with this project, because there has been many that have done, but many that haven't done it, right? And I think we are with the right people. We have been with the right people that want to share really a little bit of their life, their personal story, and their passion for magic. And well, I'm really sure we will see each other soon, sooner or well, I think sooner than later here in Mexico. One of our plans when all this thing finishes is to create like a magic life, you know, like Magic Life in Las Vegas, but here in Mexico, and bring all the artists that have been with us around these three long months. So it would be a pleasure to have you here in Mexico. This is your house. You have many houses in Mexico. You have Mexico City, you have Puerto Vallarta, you have Veracruz, right? So thank you for sharing your experience, as the name of the project is, sharing experience. Thank you for being so nice with us, for letting us go in with you into your personal story and your life. And well, I'm sure everyone here enjoyed as much as I did. I am sure we learned uh, a lot of things. Speaking about technique with the routine of the blank that you told us, and about personal experience with you that I'm sure we will apply right in our way to work. So here you have magicians from Mexico, from Colombia, from Venezuela. I guess there's many from many places. So thank you for sharing. I don't know if these guys want to do a last question, if they want to know anything else, but with for me, it's everything that we wanted to talk to you. Well, I want to let you. I want to let us know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this time that you've spent with us?
Well, I really enjoyed it. And if you guys want to stay in touch with me, find me on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, Suzanne the Magician, just like it is on here.
Yep.
Magician is my last name. So find me on Facebook, and you know, we can keep the conversations going, because I mean, I'm really enjoying this. I've been looking forward to this since Rich contacted me to do this. So
Thank you a lot. So there's a question. There's one question here. They asked us. It says, years ago, the magicians would charge for doing magic in restaurants. Some years later, they stopped paying, and actually, right now, there's even places that charge on commissions for the magician to the restaurant. How would you recuperate that and go back into those years where you charge the restaurant?
I've not run into that myself. I personally would not work for nothing. So because there's a perceived value, and if you work for free, even if it's just tips, or if you pay to work, then you don't have value. And like I worked at Gianni's Steakhouse for 14 years, and when they sold and the new owner wanted me to stay, but she didn't want to pay me anymore, I went, I'm not working here if I'm not getting paid. So I don't think it's a good model. I understand for magicians who are just starting out, they need people. You can't do magic if you don't have an audience. And a great place to have an audience is a restaurant, right? So, but in my community, that would not be a sustainable model.
Okay, very good. So I'm gonna tell him what you said. So, un mago con alegría. No sé cuál sea tu nombre por ahí, si me lo puedes poner. Te contesto lo que nos comenta Susan. Ella cree que, ella no, ella cree que si tú no tienes un precio por el que el restaurante pague por tus servicios, ya sea por tips o algo así, bueno, más bien, tú le estás dando un valor al restaurante, ¿no? Tú le estás dando un valor agregado al restaurante y ella considera que eso es algo que los restaurantes deberían remunerar económicamente, ¿no? Entonces, ella considera que no es como que recuperar esos tiempos, sino más bien trabajar por ellos, ¿no? Decirles que si realmente te quieren tener trabajando con ellos, pues hay un precio que pagar, ¿no? Crear valor en tu servicio. Yo creo que es algo que no muchos hemos tenido la oportunidad de hacer, pero básicamente ella lo que nos dice es que no cree que ese sea un modelo de trabajo pues eficiente y que ella por ejemplo con lo del steakhouse donde estaba trabajando, dice que cuando el nuevo dueño quería que se quedara, pero no le quería pagar, pues ella dijo, ¿sabes qué? Yo no me voy a quedar aquí si no me pagas. Entonces, pues yo creo que eso es lo que tenemos que hacer también, ¿no? I think we have to let people know, managers from the restaurants and everyone that owns restaurants or managed restaurants, that our service has a value, right? And it gives something extra to the restaurant that we work for, right?
Exactly. And I'll tell you the way that I pitch it. I am not there only to entertain the audience. I am there to give the servers the time that they need to get to that table, because sometimes the servers are going to be so busy that they don't even have time to set to order the appetizers. So you're going to go to that table, you're going to work in concert with, do you know what that phrase is, in concert with? You're going to work with
like a teamwork.
Yeah, you're gonna work with the servers, and you're gonna say, where do you need me? And so you as the magician aren't picking the tables unless the servers don't need you, and then you'll pick a table. But for the most part, I'm going to the servers and I'm saying, where do you need me to go? So I am buying time for the servers. I'm buying time for the kitchen if the kitchen is behind. I'm bringing a grumpy table and turning them around to where they're happy. If the kitchen makes a mistake in a meal and the server is going to get yelled at because the meal is now not right, I can go to that table and make it right. And so my job as the magician is working to help the restaurant run more smoothly? Do I bring people back? Yes. Do I help people be entertained? Absolutely. But what is my main goal? My main goal is to help the servers and the kitchen staff. And if somebody drops their fork and I'm walking by, I will pick up the fork and go and get them a clean fork. So, so I'm filling in places that are easy for me to fill in and helping the staff. So if you can look at your restaurant magic as you're in service to the restaurant instead of I'm here to fool the pants off the audience, then that will give you more value.
Yes, completely, completely,
Yeah.
completely, and it's really interesting that you say it because that's the way that I think you have to present magic, right?
Right.
As for example, us in the order, we present the service as a way for you to approach your dead times in the restaurant. For example, when before they bring their food, what we do is for them to not feel the long time between the order and the food, we put that in the middle, and suddenly we are finishing the routine, and boom, the food is going in, right?
Right.
So that's how we sell it. That's how we pitch it. And also, as you say, we are being functional to the restaurants because they are having like one more helper, but without having to pay as a server or as a manager or as a whatever. But you're gonna do tasks that you can do and that they ask you to do, but not going into the food or not going into the bar. So simply tasks that you can, like for example, if they raise their hand, you go with them and ask them they what they need, and then you tell the waiter, oh, they need this, they need that, and then the waiter goes and tell them, and the waiter say like, oh, thank you, right? So creating like an atmosphere of an environment of, as you say, it works smoothly, right?
Right.
It's great.
Right.
It's great. It's great to know people
And
that
I don't
match
know
with it.
if
But
I don't know if this is a cultural thing for like where I live, but if a server comes up to a table and says, how is everything? Pretty much everybody at the table will go, yeah, it's fine. But it might not be fine. But if I go up to the table and I say, hey, how was your dinner? They might say, oh man, my steak was a little overdone, or oh, this was too salty, or that they had a complaint.
hey,
Tell
sorry,
me.
sorry, my cat and my dog were crazy. Hey, ven acá. They were so over the same food, and then the cat did like no.
Oh, I would
Ocha,
like to have seen
ven
a
acá.
video.
Sorry, I got scared.
Is everybody
Yeah,
safe?
yeah, it's everybody safe. Yeah, cálmate. Sorry for that, Suzanne. You know, we're
Okay.
live. Those things happen.
So you got what I was saying is that
Yeah,
sometimes the server will come up and say, hey, how is everything? And people will say it's fine. But if I come up and say, hey, how is everything? They will tell me, hey, the steak was overdone, or hey, this was too salty. And then I will then later go tell the server, and the server will give them a free dessert, or the server will give them something. So then they go, wow, this is a great restaurant because um, we we didn't even complain to the server. We told the magician how we really felt, and then the server took care of it. And that they didn't feel comfortable enough telling the server, but they felt comfortable enough telling me. So that's another aspect of having me there, is that I'm kind of a liaison to the restaurant.
yes, I never thought it about like that, like never realized that it's true. The clients open more with your salad because I think they don't feel the threat that you are the waiter, or they don't feel bad because you're not serving them, right? And
Right.
they can make open comments.
Right.
Wow, I never thought it like that.
So that's a really good thing. And so make sure if they say anything like, oh man, I didn't like whatever, make sure you tell the server, and then a good server will do something about that.
Yes, for sure. That's true. Okay.
Oh, and
Oh,
one other thing.
tell me.
And when you leave the table, and this is a way to really get it so that the restaurant can see your value. When I leave the table, let's say I'm at Birch's, I will say, my name again is Suzanne. I'm here pretty much every Friday night, unless I'm doing a show somewhere else and then I'm not here. If you like the magic, make sure you tell the server on the way out. So this does a few things. It tells people that I'm there pretty much every Friday. Unless I'm doing a show somewhere else, that means, oh, wow, you do show somewhere else? Maybe you could do a show for me.
Wow, yes.
And, oh, I enjoyed the magic so much, I will tell the host on the way out. And it's, I get so many compliments from the host saying, all of these people came up and said so many nice things about you. I cannot even believe it. And one of the managers started saying, yes, I know she's great. That's why she's here. So, so that will show your value to the staff. If you don't tell the people at the table to say how much they like the magic, they'll forget to do that and they won't do it. But if you say, please tell them at the front that you like the magic, they will tell, and that will just skyrocket you as seeming indispensable.
Nice, completely nice. I didn't know that either. So great. So let me tell these guys all these tips because I think they're amazing. We can apply it a lot, you know. So, chicos, pues aquí están algunos consejos que me están dando Suzanne, ¿no? Para agregar valor. La cuestión de cómo presentarle el servicio al restaurante y asegurarle que no solamente van a tener un mago, sino que también van a tener un miembro efectivo y proactivo en el equipo de trabajo, donde el mago pueda, aparte de ser el mago, cumplir funciones básicas, como comentaba Suzanne. Si a un cliente se le cae un tenedor, yo voy, lo recojo y le llevo uno nuevo. Yo me pongo en contacto con los meseros para que los meseros me digan dónde me necesitan, porque a veces hay tiempos, pues, que no, bueno, pues, ¿cómo decirlo? Hay horas pico donde los restaurantes están llenos y necesitan de tiempo para atender las mesas. Entonces, esto yo creo que es una manera de agregarle valor y lograr que los restaurantes vean eso. Y otra cosa que decía Susana es que también antes, o sea, cuando vayas a terminar el show, simplemente diles, bueno, mi nombre es, como te llames, yo me encuentro aquí cada viernes, a menos de que esté haciendo un show en otro lado. Y si les gustó, pues por favor digan, no olviden decirles en la puerta lo que opinan de este show, ¿no? Y dice que esto es algo muy interesante porque ataca 3 puntos, ¿no? Ataca el punto de que le estás diciendo que estás ahí cada viernes. Si no es que tiene show en algún lado, eso quiere decir que tiene show en otros lugares y que entonces, pues te pueden contratar para otros lugares, ¿no? Y también, pues, básicamente lo que puedes hacer es agregarle valor con la cuestión de decir que les gustó la magia al final, para que así él empiece a ver unos comentarios y que estés siempre ahí presente en los oídos de pues el restaurante y logres tener una buena sinergia con los trabajadores, ¿no? Y pues también, como dijimos, darle valor al resultado. ¿Vale? Pues bueno, eso fue lo que preguntó. That's what it is, right? So, Suzanne, thank you a lot for being up with here. I could speak thousands of hours more. Here is Joe Cross. He's my partner. I don't know if you met him before. You talked to him?
Yep.
Right? Okay, so, well, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Keep the conversation going. Friend me on Facebook, and I had a great time. Thanks a lot for having me, and I hope to get to know all you guys better.
For sure. For sure. Ok, Cross, ¿quieres añadir algo? ¿Tienes alguna cuestión?
No, gracias amigos a todos los que se quedaron aquí en la entrevista. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for all. And see you again
Soon.
soon. Tengo aquí a mi
Soon.
traductor personal. See you soon, Suzanne.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Ok.
Gracias a
Pues,
todos,
chicos,
Thank you
amigos.
so much. Thank you. See you.
Cuídense mucho, estamos en contacto, pásenla bien, gracias por quedarse con nosotros, gracias
Thank you very
Suzanne
much.
por esto. Y
Suzanne.
bueno, pásenla bien amigos, gracias Mauricio, cuídate hermano, gracias a
Cuídense
todos.
mucho, gracias a todos. Ricardo, muchísimas gracias. Ya sabes, aquí andamos, cualquier cosita. Gracias por estar aquí apoyándonos con el chat, con todos los links y la información. Y pues bueno, estos links se los vamos a hacer llegar ahí en los grupos. Ahí, Cross, si podemos hacérselos llegar todos estos links
Sí.
que nos mandó Suzanne. Y pues bueno, damos por concluida esta. Ricardo, ¿quieres agregar algo?
Tengo unos productos, Suzanne. Ya puse ahí los precios, se los paso en el grupo si quieren. But
Ok.
Sí.
products, Suzanne.
I didn't get that.
Okay. I give you the prices and I call later for that.
Oh, great. Did you get my text? I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you. Goodbye, Suzanne. I hope to be in touch with you soon, okay?
That sounds great.
Let's do a second part of this.
Oh, I would love to do that. That would be great. Just let me know.
Very good. Okay. So,
Good.
muchas gracias a todos. Nos vemos hasta la próxima.
Take care. Bye.